He who is brave is free. Seneca. What if I told you that saying nothing after a breakup could be more powerful than sending the perfect text, pleading for closure, or even trying to get them back? Most people react with messages, calls, or emotional outbursts, thinking that action equals control. But here's the secret. True strength isn't in what you say, it's in what you don't say. In this video, we're diving deep into why silence after a breakup isn't a sign of weakness, but your strongest weapon. We'll explore how Stoic philosophy teaches you to reclaim your power, protect your peace, and transform emotional pain into unshakable calm. You'll discover why reacting impulsively only gives your ex control, and why stepping back in quiet confidence can shift the balance in ways most people never understand. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to wield silence as a tool, not to punish, but to master yourself, heal faster, and emerge stronger. Stick with me till the very end, because missing even one Stoic principle here means leaving a part of your power on the table. This is your guide to turning heartbreak into a source of inner freedom. Number 1, silence allows you to regain control over your emotions. After a breakup, your mind is often a storm of thoughts, emotions ricocheting off one another, leaving you restless, reactive, and unsteady. Every impulse to reach out, explain, defend, or argue chips away at your inner calm. Silence, though, is not emptiness. Silence is a tool, a way to reclaim the control that the chaos of emotions tries to steal from you. Reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you stop speaking, when you remove yourself from the noise of the moment, you give yourself a chance to observe those emotions without letting them dictate your actions. You stop being a puppet to your heart and start being a master of your inner world. This is where the real strength lies, in choosing your responses instead of reacting. In the heat of a breakup, every word sent impulsively, every message typed and deleted, every post made in a bid for attention or clarity pulls you further from control. Silence gives you the pause, the space to breathe, to feel fully without being swept away. It allows your mind to catch up with your emotions. You start noticing patterns, triggers, and subtle shifts in your own thinking that were invisible when you were caught in constant reaction. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." Silence forces you to change that view. You gain clarity, perspective, and a sense of calm that comes from understanding yourself more deeply than the moment of pain allows. To put this into action, begin with small exercises. Take a day, or even just a few hours, where you refrain from initiating contact or responding immediately. Every time you feel the urge to reach out, pause, breathe deeply. Label the emotion you are feeling: frustration, sadness, longing, or anger. Writing it down privately without intending to send it can amplify the effect. The goal is not suppression, but observation. Watch the emotion as it moves through you without acting on it. Over time, you'll notice a rhythm emerging, a natural settling of the storm inside, as if your mind is finding its own equilibrium. Silence is also a form of power that communicates without words. By stepping back, you are sending a message not through confrontation, but through composure. You are showing that your center is not shaken by external events. You are teaching yourself that your peace is not contingent on anyone else's presence, approval, or behavior. Each day you resist the urge to react, you reinforce a habit of emotional sovereignty. It's subtle, quiet, and profoundly transformative. To make this habitual, try setting deliberate, quiet hours in your day, especially after emotionally triggering moments. No calls, no messages, no scrolling. Focus on your own growth. Read, meditate, journal, or reflect on what you are learning about yourself. Notice the small victories, a moment of irritation passing without a single reactive word, a pang of longing acknowledged but not acted upon. Each of these moments strengthens your ability to regulate your emotional state. Silence after a breakup is more than restraint. It is reclaiming yourself. It is the moment when you step back from the chaos, observe without judgment, and choose your next steps from a place of calm, not reaction. By practicing this, you are not only protecting your mind from unnecessary turbulence, you are cultivating a kind of quiet power that no one can take away. Your inner world becomes your fortress, and from that fortress, you will engage with life again not as a reactive force, but as a deliberate, composed, and unshakable presence. Number 2, it creates space for reflection and self-growth. Silence after a breakup isn't weakness, it's power. When you stop responding, stop chasing, stop filling the void with noise, you create a space that's yours alone. A space where reflection isn't interrupted, where you can actually see yourself, your choices, your patterns, and your emotions without distraction. Said, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. That retreat is exactly what silence allows. When you step back from the chaos of messages, arguments, or attempts to explain yourself, you suddenly realize that the world doesn't revolve around the drama of the breakup. Your world is still whole, and in that stillness, you find clarity. This space isn't empty, it's fertile. It's fertile for growth, for insight, for seeing things you might have ignored when your energy was scattered. You start noticing patterns in your own behavior, recognizing the impulses that led to pain, the attachments that didn't serve you, and the values that you want to prioritize moving forward. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Silence gives you the power to choose your reaction deliberately. It allows you to respond with reason instead of emotion, to rebuild yourself on your own terms, and to align your actions with your principles rather than your fears. Here's the critical part. Silence is a mirror. It reflects your strengths, your weaknesses, your potential, and your true priorities. But reflection alone isn't enough. You must act on what you discover. Start small. Each day, spend 20 minutes in quiet reflection. Journal your thoughts, questions, and feelings. Ask yourself what you truly want, what boundaries you need, and where you've allowed past patterns to dictate your happiness. This is not a passive exercise. It's active construction of your inner life. While others might expect arguments, explanations, or reassurance, your silence is teaching something profound, not to them but to you. It teaches patience, discipline, and self-respect. It forces you to confront yourself without excuses. When you resist the urge to reach out, you resist giving your power away. That space you've created becomes a laboratory for your growth, where you experiment with new habits, test your resilience, and practice detachment from outcomes. This is the essence of Stoicism, focusing on what is within your control and letting go of what is not. You can amplify this practice by setting deliberate boundaries for yourself. Avoid social media that triggers old attachments. Turn off notifications that pull you into reactive behaviors. Schedule intentional time for solitude where you can meditate, breathe, and simply exist without distraction. The point isn't to punish yourself or the other person, it's to reclaim your center. Your growth, your clarity, and your calm are not dependent on anyone else. They are cultivated within you. Eventually, you'll notice subtle but powerful shifts. Thoughts that once overwhelmed you lose their urgency. Emotional reactions become manageable. You start acting from a place of strength rather than neediness. Silence, when used deliberately, transforms from emptiness into a powerful tool for self-mastery. It teaches you to move forward with intention, to recognize your own worth, and to cultivate an inner resilience that no external circumstance can shake. In this quiet, in this space, you are not just healing, you are evolving. Number 3, silence prevents giving power to those who hurt you. Silence is not emptiness, it is power. After a breakup, every word you speak, every reaction you give carries weight, And when you respond impulsively, you hand over that weight to the person who has already caused you pain. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Every time you argue, explain, justify, or seek to reclaim attention, you are handing them control over your emotions. You give them the ability to unsettle you, to manipulate your mood, to dictate your mental energy. Silence, on the other hand, is a declaration. Your inner peace is yours alone. It cannot be bargained for, it cannot be stolen. When you choose silence, you are creating an invisible shield. You're not avoiding the world or ignoring reality. You're simply taking back the power that was once ceded through emotional reaction. Said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Each time you bite your tongue, each time you resist the urge to reply, to argue, to explain, you are practicing this principle. You are exercising self-discipline. You are teaching yourself that your worth is not contingent upon their recognition, their validation, or their understanding. Practically speaking, silence becomes a tool for clarity. It allows you to observe your own thoughts without distortion, to process your emotions without interference, and to act from intention rather than impulse. When the urge to reach out strikes, pause, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, will this response build my peace or give away my power? More often than not, the answer will reveal that silence is the stronger path. Each moment you resist, you strengthen the boundary between your inner world and the outer chaos, proving to yourself that no one can unsettle you without your permission. A practical exercise is to intentionally implement what the Stoics call a state of emotional equanimity. For the next week, whenever you feel compelled to contact or react, replace the action with reflection. Write down the feeling, trace its origin, and release it without judgment. See it for what it is, a signal, not a mandate. This trains your mind to treat provocation as a passing cloud rather than a storm that demands action. Silence also sends a powerful message without a single word. It communicates restraint, dignity, and control. It communicates that you are whole on your own, that your life is not contingent upon approval or reconciliation, that your focus is on your own growth. This is not a game of revenge. It is a conscious choice to reclaim your sovereignty. Each quiet moment becomes an assertion. You will not be baited, you will not be unsettled, and your energy is yours alone to steward. The most transformative aspect is internal. Over time, silence cultivates resilience. It teaches you patience, strengthens your self-awareness, and reinforces your understanding that external circumstances do not dictate your inner state. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." By refusing to react, you cut the chain of imagined offenses. You prevent your mind from amplifying hurt, from spinning narratives that grant power to those who have already left. You reclaim the narrative. Silence is not weakness. It is mastery. Each moment of restraint builds a fortress around your peace, a sanctuary that cannot be breached. Start small, say less. Observe more, reflect, breathe. Let your calm, deliberate silence become a practice, a weapon not against them but for yourself. In the stillness, you find freedom. In the quiet, you reclaim power. And when the storm of emotions passes, you emerge not only unshaken but stronger, wiser, and entirely your own. Number 4, it signals strength without aggression or desperation. When you choose silence after a breakup, you're doing far more than withholding words. You're making a statement that resonates deeper than any argument, any text, or any desperate plea ever could. Silence communicates strength because it is grounded, deliberate, and controlled. It doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it doesn't claw for attention. Seneca reminds us, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. In this case, silence is your steady rudder, your calm determination, and your unwavering focus on your own direction. You are showing that your equilibrium doesn't depend on someone else's responses or their attempts to draw you back in. It signals that you are anchored in yourself, your values, and your self-respect, and that no one can unsettle the stability you've cultivated. Think about it. People often mistake aggression for power and frantic messaging for passion, but true strength never needs to assert itself through noise or urgency. By holding back, by choosing stillness, you are claiming the high ground. You are telling the universe and yourself that your inner life is richer and more complete than the need for validation from someone who is no longer aligned with your path. Wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Your silence is that retreat. It allows you to step out of the reactive cycle, to gain clarity, and to preserve dignity while the other person flails in the turbulence of expectation and uncertainty. This is not passivity, it is strategy. Each moment you resist the urge to respond, you are exercising self-mastery. You are training your mind to detach from impulsive behaviors and external pressures. You are strengthening your character. The practical exercise is deceptively simple. Create a boundary around your attention. For a set period, hours, days, or even weeks, commit to absolute non-engagement. Every time the impulse to reach out, explain, or argue surfaces, pause, take a deep breath. Journal the feeling instead. Reflect on why you feel compelled and how it might dissipate if left alone. The Stoics teach that mastery over desire is the truest form of freedom. By refusing to act out of need or fear, you reclaim that freedom in real time. Silence also invites introspection for both parties. By withdrawing from constant communication, you create a space where clarity can emerge. You demonstrate that your worth is not negotiable, that your time and energy are not cheap currency, and that your focus is on growth rather than drama. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your reaction, or in this case, your deliberate non-reaction, is your signal to the world that you are guided by principle, not emotion. Finally, this silence becomes a protective force. It shields your energy from unnecessary conflict, it preserves your dignity, and it nurtures your own healing. When you stop trying to prove your value through words, you begin to live it through presence. Every day you practice restraint, your confidence grows, your self-awareness deepens, and your power becomes undeniable, not because you chase it, but because you embody it. So take action today. Step back. Resist the urge to fill the quiet with explanations, justifications, or attempts to stir emotion. Let your silence speak, and let it tell the story of a person who is grounded, composed, and unshakable. That stillness is not emptiness, it is strength. And in that strength, you will discover freedom, clarity, and the kind of inner peace that no words could ever convey. Number 5, it shifts focus from external validation to internal mastery. Silence after a breakup isn't just absence, it's a powerful realignment. When you stop seeking constant reassurance, responding to messages, or trying to demonstrate that you're okay, something transformative begins to happen. You shift your energy inward. Instead of looking outward for validation, hoping that someone else's words, attention, or recognition will soothe your pain, you start to anchor yourself in your own principles, your own sense of self-worth, and your own clarity. Reminds us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. Your focus moves from the uncontrollable world of other people's perceptions to the one thing you can fully govern, your own mind. This shift is subtle but profound. When you're constantly chasing approval or trying to explain yourself, you are giving away power. You are letting your sense of self hinge on someone else's responses, and that keeps you tethered to their whims. Silence breaks that tether. It teaches you that your presence, your calm, your measured reactions, and your self-respect are not contingent on external acknowledgement. Epictetus taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Silence is your reaction. It's your statement without words, that you are whole, that you are centered, that you are mastering your inner world even while the external world may be chaotic. Hear how you can practice this in a tangible way. Each time you feel the urge to reach out, pause, breathe, ask yourself, am I seeking reassurance or am I nurturing my own growth? Journal these impulses. Observe them without judgment. Write down the feelings, then release them onto the page. By externalizing your thoughts and emotions through reflection rather than communication, you strengthen internal control. You're telling yourself, and reinforcing through action, that your peace doesn't depend on someone else's engagement. Another practical step is to create a daily ritual of self-assessment. Start your day with a few minutes of stillness. Reflect on your values, your goals, and your personal progress. Affirm your strengths and acknowledge areas for growth. When you ground yourself in these fundamentals, the pull of external validation diminishes naturally. Your sense of achievement, your emotional balance, and even your joy become self-generated rather than borrowed from the attention of another person. The beauty of silence lies not just in restraint, but in what it allows you to cultivate: focus, patience, resilience. It's a return to the Stoic ideal of autonomy, the ability to remain centered and content regardless of what happens outside your control. You're practicing mastery of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Over time, you start to notice a shift in how you view relationships, interactions, and even yourself. You become less reactive and more deliberate, more confident in your identity, and less dependent on fleeting external signals. To make this real, commit to intentional periods of silence. Start with a day, then stretch to several. During this time, dedicate energy to growth, read, meditate, write, or pursue skills that elevate your mind and body. Each moment of non-reaction is a brick in the foundation of your inner fortitude. With every hour you resist the urge to seek validation, you reinforce your sovereignty over your own mental and emotional landscape. Eventually, you'll realize that silence after a breakup isn't absence, it's presence. Presence within yourself, presence in your own values, presence in your own mastery. It is the ultimate exercise in Stoic self-discipline, and when practiced consistently, it becomes your strongest weapon, not against anyone else, but for the unshakable strength of your own character. So the next time your heart feels the pull to reach out, remember, silence isn't weakness, it's mastery. It's the quiet power that allows you to reclaim your peace, center your mind, and show the world and yourself that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By choosing stillness over reaction, you're not just surviving the breakup, you're growing stronger, wiser, and more unshakable than ever. If you take just one thing from this video, let it be this: your silence is your strength. Harness it, protect it, and watch how it transforms the way you move through heartbreak and life itself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a dose of Stoic wisdom that can turn life's toughest moments into your greatest victories. Share this with someone who needs to reclaim their power too. And remember, your calm is your weapon.